call for equality of minorities. Because it's racist if white conservatives say it, but if a black face says it and they simply affirm him, it's what the community wants. Yeah, of course, obviously.
So
oh my
that's,
God.
again, he takes the argument and he totally frames it in the most disingenuous way possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens here, the social dynamic of this is that you have someone who's on the right, or someone who just disagrees, I guess, with some sort of argument on the left about anything. And unfortunately, the leftists, woke leftist commie SJWs go-to move is to just say, oh, well, you just disagree with us because you're racist. Like, I don't have to think about your argument. I don't have to tell you why you're wrong with facts and logic. I'm just going to say you're racist, right? It's very easy. It's very clean. It's very stupid. It's very dumbed down. It's like the most low resolution response that everyone can just get on board with. Oh, you're racist, right? Rile up the mob, get the witch trial going.
Yeah.
So that's why
where's my pitchfork?
Right, exactly. So that's why they like to promote, unfortunately, people like Hannah Owens, or just like anyone who is black or minority who disagrees with the left, because then they can't really, I mean, they still do, but they can't just say like, oh, you're racist. It's like, well, but he's black. So you have to actually address his arguments and say why they're wrong on a factual level.
Are you saying it's just a response to them playing the racist card everywhere they go? They're like, well, okay, well, let's find someone that can make this argument that's not that let's take racism out of the equation. Let's just see if someone agrees with our argument that is a different skin color. No,
right,
it doesn't work.
Because you have the woke crowd uses calling people racist as a tactic.
Yes.
And then so then the counter to this is, well, I'm going to have someone who is black who doesn't agree with you, and then so then they have to fall back on the, well, internalize white supremacy,
the token, token,
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Traitor to your race, all that kind of insidious stuff.
Right, and then the super high level 10th dimensional underwater chess gaslight move is then to accuse the person against the woke idea, accuse them of being the one playing identity politics because they're black.
Id poll.
Right.
Look at this. Id poll. How dare you be funny. Black?
It's so sad.
That's why the whole turncoat token shit is so important for conservatism. If a white guy went up there,
oh my God, it's so bad.
Turncoat tokenism.
It's so bad.
That's so racist.
It's evil. It's totally evil. Yeah.
He just called conservative black people, not even conservative because Soul is libertarian. He just called black people who don't agree with the woke narrative turncoats.
Yeah. Traitors to their race. Yeah, it's racist because you have to, I mean, you're basically social pressuring them to agree with you based solely on their race. Joe Biden did the exact same thing in the election when he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. What? Okay.
Yeah, that was really
I mean, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. It's
true.
You have to, in order to be black, these are the opinions that you must have.
Right. Yeah. Someone sent me a clip. There's another Vaush video someone sent me. It was Vaush was talking about, there's the whole controversy with Chris Pratt, where people are trying to get him canceled because he's religious and conservative or something.
Yeah, scary. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very weird. And then, but fortunately, all of his coworkers, who many of them are super fucking woke, all came out and defended him. So maybe this will be the wake-up call they needed to say, like, okay, maybe we're creating this Frankenstein's monster here. We need to chill out here.
Doubtful.
But we can only hope at it. We can only hope. But so Vaush did a video about this, and it's very interesting because at one point in the video, the focal point of the video, he looks at the screen dramatically, like he knows this is going to be the part that gets clipped, and he's like, people who vote for conservative policies are inherently bad people, or inherently evil people, and he has like this whole tirade about how if you're simply being Republican automatically makes you a bad person, an evil person, and worthy of being canceled. So
what? Really? Oh my.
Yeah. So this is the position that he's coming from when he calls a black person a turncoat token.
Yeah, that's
must
sad.
You must adhere to the ideology. You must remember this Vaush is the you must adhere to the mob, you know.
I don't understand how you could categorize any of this as intelligence, though, because all of this just seems like reflex to me. I don't see Vaush understanding the arguments made. I don't see him countering the arguments made. I see him regurgitating just tired liberal talking points from like 25 years ago. Seriously, I read that book forever ago. The book with Pinochet and all that stuff.
Well, he's like Candace Owens in that.
That's hilarious.
Well, they're very similar. I didn't think about it until just right now. They're very similar in that they're both very. I don't think they're like stupid. I don't think they're low IQ.
No, they're rhetorical.
Yeah, they're very good at creating a rhetoric. They're very good at framing things in the most negative way possible. I mean, obviously, this requires intelligence to do this. They're very good at being political pundits, and they're very good oftentimes in debating people with like hearing, like focusing on some like part of what someone's argument is, and then like immediately trying to like create the logical, not loophole, but like the logical inconsistency in what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I that's why I don't think Vaush is stupid. I think he's just so. I think he has the switch on. He's like on the I must destroy. It was like his first conversation with Sargon on this channel. He had his destroy switch on so much that it just like he's like a rabid dog. He's just foaming. It's just blinding him. He can't actually hear what's being said. He can actually hear the ideas that are being discussed because he's just so like looking for the gotcha, the thing he can turn and say like, oh, you're evil, you're racist, blah 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 blah. And I think that's what's happening in this video.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. I think he's completely uninformed. Like, I don't think he has a lot of experience with any of these ideas. So that makes a huge difference, don't you think? I mean,
I do. Yes.
There and said, black people don't want this. They would obviously and rightfully be called racist for it. But you find one black guy in a million who will say shit like black people don't care about being paid equally. And then all of a sudden you can
see that. Don't you think that argument's from 20 years ago? Come on. That argument is like,
right.
That argument started with Fox News. They're like, oh, look, Fox News has all these black people on there, all these tokens. They can't possibly agree with the people on Fox News. There's no such thing as a black conservative.
Right.
Get the entire party behind them.
That in point of fact, you get greater equality of actual results by a system under which people are free to achieve unequal results. That for the poor people of the world...
Nobody is talking about building a system where people aren't free to achieve unequal results. He just said something tautological. Did you hear that? People are more free if they're free to have different results.
That's not what he said. Wait,
this is what
I don't.
He
think
just
said
are free to achieve. That in point of fact, you get greater equality of actual results by a system under which people are free to achieve unequal results. That for the poor people of the world.
No.
Okay, so if I'm unmistaken, a tautology is when you say something is true because it's true, right?
I guess.
Saying the same thing twice in different words.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in such so Vaush is in such attack mode. He again completely doesn't hear what Milton Friedman just said. Milton Friedman didn't say that in order to create more freedom, you have to have a more free society. He said, if you want more equal results, okay, you have to have your society be built around individual freedom.
Yep.
He's just basically stating his principle of belief. This is not a tautology whatsoever. But Vaush is in such attack mode. Again, he just keeps misinterpreting what he's saying.
Nobody is talking building a system where people aren't free to achieve unequal results. He just
and that's literally what the conversation is about. They're saying that
they're free to achieve unequal results because they will naturally.
Right, but the conversation is literally about Thomas Sowell and Milton Friedman are saying, hey, we shouldn't have race-based initiatives like affirmative action and these other welfare programs or social programs and that people should be free as individuals to pursue whatever they want. And the other people are arguing, saying, no, we want the government to come in and to implement programs that forces a specific behavior on either people or on jobs or corporations or whatever.
Yeah, aesthetically,
that's literally what the conversation is.
Aesthetically, it offends our sensibilities that they're not, that the composition of certain companies doesn't completely match society. So we want you to go in there and fix that. Isn't it so weird? It's like this totally offends us aesthetically. It's like decorating with people's lives. It's sad. It's totally sad. I don't like it.
Just said something topical. Did you hear that? People are more free if they're free to have different results.
If they're free to have different, yeah.
Not what he said, but that's fine.
This is one of the world's leading minds of laissez-faire capitalism, by the way.
You know, it's so funny. You see, I don't know if you've seen this. Maybe this is projection a little bit. You see a YouTuber or like a person, if you follow someone long enough, like when you follow them when they're small and then they blow up in popularity, you can kind of usually see this like a shift in the way they speak, and it's like ego. You can see the ego like seep into like the way they speak. And that's part of why I was always so happy with Jordan Peterson, is that I never saw that shift in Jordan Peterson, him becoming like egotistical the way you usually see in someone who explodes rapidly. And I feel like when I watched or heard Vaush's early conversations with Destiny before he had his own channel or whatever, he had like a very different way of speaking, different way of thinking. And then now that he's become popular, it's just like you can feel like the ego is like seeped into his head. It's the same thing. I really see this the most, though. I see it with Tim Pool the most. And that's part of why I really don't like Tim
you think
Pool.
Tim Pool turned into an egomaniac?
Oh my God, yeah. Like you don't see, to me, I see it's like when he was like, because I followed Tim Pool, I think, from like almost the beginning, like when he was like a very small channel. And it just, I feel like if I go back and I watch an old video and he has this totally different style, way of speaking, you know, his mannerisms, the tone of his voice, it's like, oh, it's all so different. And then now it just, I don't know, it drives me crazy because I can just feel the ego like seeping out of the beanie on the top of his head. And so, but anyway, but my point is, before we got into this whole ad hom attack that I just did, is that if you're responding to someone who's supposed to be some great intellectual mind and you think they said something that's extraordinarily stupid, you should probably, if you're not egotistical, pause and say, maybe I misheard them.
Yes, maybe I misunderstood. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and really make sure I understood what they said, because I'm going to assume that this person that everyone thinks is really smart is not a fucking idiot. It's more likely that I made the mistake.
Well, Milton Friedman has a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm curious. I'm waiting for Vaush to pull out his Nobel Peace Prize. Where's his Nobel Peace Prize to put on the desk?
Exactly.
It's like,
why?
World that Francis Fox Piven was talking about. The most effective mechanism for enabling them to improve their status is not a governmental program which seeks to ascribe to them certain positions, which seeks to provide them with certain goods and services, but a governmental program which tries to eliminate arbitrary barriers to advancement. I would say that in this world...
So he's saying that rather than giving poor people food and money, instead we have less business regulations.
What? That's not remotely what he said, but...
Wait.
Did I lose you? You know why I started getting into Milton Friedman?
Why?
Because he's for UBI. He's for negative income tax. That's why I started looking into him. Milton Friedman is actually very much against the poor. Like, a lot of his talks are how we are taking money from the poor in taxes and using them for perks for the middle class, which is straight out of Dictator's Handbook. It's like the people that have the political power are the ones that end up raking in all the resources. Yeah. Which is sad. Milton Friedman is totally in favor of helping the poor.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, of course. He has a different
in
view of
Vaush's,
how that's achieved.
Yes, in Vaush's world, though, Milton Friedman is a
corporate
person.
Lapdog.
Yeah, corporate lapdog, exactly. Like he'll say and do anything as long as corporations can subjugate whoever they want. Like that's his idea.
Well,
when he doesn't want corporations to subjugate people at all.
This is why I always say it's dangerous to leap to bad faith assumptions, because this, I mean, we talk about this a lot. This is the general way people, one of the most general mistakes people make is that they assume everyone looks at the world through the same lens as they do. So Vaush is, the reason Vaush thinks that Friedman and Soul are corporate lapdogs is because he's coming from the assumption that Friedman and Soul look at the world the same way he does. Friedman and Soul have the same intuitions that he does. They have the same experiences he does. And therefore, the only conceivable way that you could possibly disagree with Vaush, if you've had all his same experiences and moral intuitions, is if you're being dishonest and if you're being a corporate lapdog. And that's how he comes to these really bonkers conclusions. And that's really the first trick. We talk, if you want to have free will, okay, not only is there, you have to donate to the stream. That's the only way to have free will. If you give us a super chat, that's the only way to prove to the universe you have free will. But part of the path to gaining free will is to realizing this, not just saying you understand it conceptually, but really internalizing it when you interact with people and realizing that everyone just has such a vastly different way of perceiving reality that you can't just assume all this negative faith on other people's behalf.
Except if it's Vaush, then of course you're allowed
Except
to.
if it's Vaush.
You're allowed to always assume bad faith.